The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
Master Yoda, you survived. Well, wait, oops, I'm sorry, wrong video. Well, my setup survived anyways. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the wacky world of MultimediaJay for 2016. Still getting used to this year, after coming off of the giant nerd high that was 2015. Well, my setup survived anyways, even if that Star Wars reference made no sense whatsoever, right on down to the original Athlon processor, nicely at home underneath the Samsung Square monitor, which is turning 10 years old this summer if this thing doesn't cook itself beforehand. I've been having some trouble getting it going on colder days. It would just pretend there's no signal until the circuitry warms up. Maybe it's getting ready for a power board failure, at which point I would say, you know, this Samsung monitor has lasted me the better part of 10 years. It had a good run. Then we have to worry about the television, which is from 2008, so it's only 2 years newer than this piece of junk. But the thing is, if I go widescreen, I'm going to have to get one with a stand that will actually turn and stuff, because you know, this actually fits better off to the side than most widescreens would, unless I could lift it up a bit so it could be over the left satellite speaker from the old Klipsch Pro Media setup. Or maybe I should just quit with the hack job nonsense entirely. Most of my setups survived. The consoles are just a little bit different because the Tuxedo's new home is between the desk and the well, this was a TV stand in some time in a past life, but yeah. This place has hardwood. This place has not hardwood, but this place has hard floors, so not as much in terms of carpets and dust mites to worry about here. So it's easy to sweep things out, and I don't really have any real cooling in this thing anymore now that I've removed the remaining intake fan that was completely useless. We'll resume the whole cooling from, you know, both intakes and outputs and whatnot with Monolith at some point later on. Although if the AMD Zen keeps getting delayed, it might take a while. Yeah, so this is basically going to be a starting points video. Not going to do too much because we're going to establish where we're starting from. Now, the consoles all survived. I just moved a few of them around. I wanted this top shelf to be easily clearable, so I could put like a laptop on there or something if I wanted to do some experimenting with a laptop or another system or something, some kind of test setup. So that is an open shelf that is available if I wanted to put something there. Just the Nintendo 64 is there for the time being. Might move it down to this. Might move it down to on top of Tuxedo or something and then move the Retro Trio up there, but anyways, Wii and Wii U fit perfectly under the Fellows shelf, which allows me to put something underneath the AV receiver because it needs its space to ventilate. Another reason why nothing important should be on top of that shelf. It's kind of toasty with the stuff coming out of there. And you can see the tower fan behind everything. One of the biggest things I observed in Geek Suite 2.0 was screen, computer, consoles, AV receiver, power equipment, tended to concentrate a lot of heat in whichever corner was over that way. So that fan has a remote control, so even though it's behind all the furniture, I can use the remote control to turn it on and even make it spin back and forth. So I can turn it on, put it in oscillate mode, and have it disperse some of the heat away from clumping up in one corner like this. Handy that. Project area needs some work, but at least there's a walkable floor back here, at least for now. Most of the remaining clutter that was not addressed during the move is going to be addressed during the Great Sift, which has been delayed due to things getting wacky at work and all kinds of other stuff. One of the things, of course, that I want to do is get rid of that tube monitor once and for all. There's a computer shop where I think there might be some customers there that hate flat panels and just love their tubes. So I imagine if I cleaned that up, there might actually be someone at that shop that would actually want that, even though it's over 10 years old at this point. I got it in summer of 2004 after the monitor that got me through college went out with a bang, and barely used it because in 2006 I went flat screen. For now, though, it'll be there for my test setup until I get rid of it. Probably put another flat panel over there, whatever I can find cheap. I do need to rearrange the old kitchen table to work better as a project table, though. In terms of this horizontal table, which used to be the project table, I don't know if I'll be keeping it or not. I might actually get rid of it if I can move the shredder somewhere else. The jump starter is not going to be around when it's not winter, of course, and I am tossing around the idea of using this table with a throw-over as a podcasting table of sorts. So I can face the other way, put the camera or something behind the couch, and actually go on a podcast or stream or something with my screens and AV stuff going in the background for something like Out of Continues or something along those lines. Or, hey, maybe one of these years I'll actually get invited on a Tech Syndicate show or something. So I have been blasting the Tech Syndicate Gaze of Raccoons theme here from time to time, and just to geek up before doing a bunch of other stuff. So this clutter over here is what's going to be sifted through during the Great Sift, since I know that there is a shop that sells computer stuff that sells a ton of spare cables. And the reason why they sell a ton of spare cables is very, very nameable. All of the brick and mortar dinosaurs around here gouge the crap out of people for every cable under the sun. And not everybody wants to wait for a monoprice order to come in. So there's people out there that want cables, but they don't want to be gouged by the stores. So that creates a market, of course, for the secondhand shops to sell secondhand cables. Even the thrift stores that I saw around here, some of whom have closed up in the past couple of months, were at least selling some secondhand cables. But when this is all said and done, I want all of this gone, including the totes. The totes were just a quick and dirty solution in the old place. They're not useful here. Matter of fact, I shouldn't even have totes in the first place. I should have stackable storage, make it look kind of like a college dorm room, but at least I can organize things instead of having, big sloppy mess of cables that you have to pull apart in order to get at a cable in the first place. As far as computers and what made it, piece of junk ancient HP from late 90s, Dellasaurus, which is going to eventually be gutted and become like a joke computer where it looks old but it isn't, and then my 2005 system is going to be gutted and the case is going to be scrapped. Just got to find a home for the motherboard. I think it still works, but it is, I'm thinking 2005 system into the Dellasaurus, see if I can make it fit somehow. Wii box is going away. I am not giving away the Wii because I have graphics issues, so the secondhand shop could probably take this box, take off my serial number, and make a Wii into a boxed system if they really wanted to. But the problem is, demand for the Wii is very low, unless someone wants to use it as a GameCube player. So, people are more interested in GameCube than Wii, since Wii was pretty much the gimmick system outside of Wii Sports. I think, unfortunately, that the Wii U is going to end up in the same boat as well. Either way, I still have the boxes that I have zero use for, so I don't know if the secondhand shop that I've been becoming very good friends with lately is really going to have any use for them. We'll see what happens. This chair by the door is not staying. Eventually, that second chair is going to be where this one is. When I have room to put this somewhere, I will. But the rationale is there will be a chair next to the door because there's a shoe rack. And I eventually want this to get to the point where you kick your shoes off at the door. Doesn't matter if you're a visitor or whatever, you come in here, you kick your shoes off, and then you have a nice comfy chair to put your shoes back on before you leave. Not really too popular of a thing around here unless someone's a neat freak, but with the hard floors, any kind of blemish or thing that needs to be vacuumed or mopped shows right up, so you can deal with it. So, I'd rather not have to mop as often if I can help it. Although I do have some new stuff to mop with. I learned a few things about cleaning stuff during the move. So, let's see here. I learned some stuff about cleaning during the move. And basically, there's a couple of tricks that I picked up that I want to try here. Heading into the kitchen and laundry room, of course, we got a portable air conditioner, which is an option that I will consider maybe in the summertime. I'm thinking of trying this out. I think I'm done with washing clothes for now. I'll shut that back off. Portable air conditioner, it would probably run off the 20 amp service in the bathroom and it can also serve as a dehumidifier. It was leaking the last time I used it though, so I gotta go see what's not working right. Take this thing apart before trying to use it again. Portable washing machine, as you know, you've seen enough videos about this thing and parroting the man on that 7431 something, I don't know. Gas stove, fire. Refrigerator. Yeah, window. I don't really have much use for the Darth Vader air filter anymore. There are no neighbors to smoke the place up, at least no apartment neighbors. The microwave. Now that I know how to clean out the microwave, what cleaners to use to actually be able to clean the darn thing, I might actually give it a shot. Because I had some issues where I tried to clean it and nothing would come off. But that was before I learned about fume-free oven cleaner cleaning more than just ovens. Got some kitchen speakers in here in case by wild chance I want any tunage, but it's a different environment here with everything being smaller, so it's not like I really need music in here, but it is an option should I want to have it. So it's basic cabinets and a mix of kitchen and laundry stuff. Granite counters, really nice stuff in here. Most of the fixtures in the Geek House are early 2000s, which corresponds with the last time this place was redone from the ground up, I guess. There was an electrical fire in 2001, and from what I understand from people who rent stuff around here, the place was left to rot afterwards until the current owners and my new landlord purchased it in the early 2000s and got it going again. All the major appliances appear to be early 2000s. The refrigerator, early 2000s. The toilet, early 2000s. Maybe I can find a date code on that stove, and it's probably going to be early 2000s as well. So, speaking of which, as this thing finishes up the last round of jeans, managed to formalize everything. Bought a dish brush to brush the lint filter with. Lint can be flushed down the toilet afterwards. Lint is highly flammable, so it's best that it stay wet as long as humanly possible. So, portable dryer going out the window works a-okay even during inclement weather. Problem is with 120 volts, the drying time is longer, not as much heat. But at the same time, with this setup that I wound up going with for that, it doesn't really fit as well as it should. You can still use the toilet paper roll thing, you just have to bring it forward instead of trying to bring it the normal way. So, yeah, I gotta put a new roll on there anyways. Going through some Charmin Basic and then switching back to the Aldi stuff afterwards. Interesting that I wound up making a road trip for sensitive teeth toothpaste for Dollar General, because from Dollar General, they actually sell sensitive toothpaste. The Walmart in the my old neck of the woods had a Walmart knockoff equivalent of it, but the one around here does not. So I took a little drive. Next time I went over to Aldi, I went to a Dollar General in the area and picked that up. So Dollar General is basically Walmart, but smaller anyway, so it's definitely competitive price-wise in a lot of areas. Although I really wonder how they think they can be Walmart, but smaller with their clown cars of a store. So anyways, of course the vanity, a 5-year-old could use that sink, like I said last time, but this has been instrumental in cleaning up the mess that used to be on top of there, as well as over there. We should probably mention the lighting situation here. If we turn the boob light off, reach into this mess, turn that on, we've got LEDs going there. And if the landlord by chance ever sees this video and wonders what's wrong with his lights, the answer is nothing. I just had some extra lamps, and these are open as opposed to those being sealed, so less chance of the LED circuits overheating if I run them in open fixtures like this. So basically, I've got it to where you just walk in and you just hit the switch on your way in. It's just a circular switch instead of a switch on the wall. Not that big of a deal, and of course the boob lights actually do still work if by chance I need them, if I need to turn them on. But less time having to get up on something and clean and take that thing off if I can help it in terms of the boob lights. So just going to clean those out because they've gotten some dust in them. They got some dust in them recently. Whatever. Scritch, scratch. I wonder if the laundry's done. Yup, called it. Time for the last load of laundry to start. You'll be hearing that during the rest of this video. The jeans were done. Let's start the last round of this stuff. And now, the water... Okay, enough parroting the guy. While this is starting the last load, I did get rid of that horrible gray extension cord thing, and I went up and over with this thing. It's not a permanent thing, of course. It gets unplugged after each use. But the interesting part is that this thing is rated for 13 amps, and it's a thicker gauge wire than what the actual washer uses. So I think I'm good on that. This thing never heats up. I do the same thing with the dryer in the bathroom too. It's never a permanent hookup, obviously, because you got to get it out of the way when you're done. But I actually use thicker gauge wire. The cord I'm using for the dryer is actually made for an air conditioner and is rated for up to 1875 watts. I can use it for a hair dryer if I really wanted to. No tempting fate though. Always go overkill with your wiring, of course, but whatever. Yeah, so this is going to be making some noise while we're finishing up here. My latest experiment with old Clunky over here involves this fan directionalizing the flow of the heat coming out of here. Now, I've observed that much like the situation I had with air conditioners at the old place in the summertime, these HVAC devices are good at heating and cooling air. They're terrible at sending that air somewhere else. So it's very noticeable. The heat comes out very, very slowly, even when this thing is on. And yeah, this hasn't run for a while. That pipe is cold to the touch. Oh wait, there it goes. Yep. I don't know why doing that makes this thing fire up sometimes, but okay, this is going to get too hot to handle very shortly, and this thing, whoosh, including the heat that's radiating off of the Franklin stovepipe, just whoosh, direct it towards the main area over there. I've actually noticed a difference with the heating in terms of it not feeling as drafty when this air has somewhere to go besides up to the ceiling, and that's about it. So it's focus. Hello. I might do something similar for when I'm doing computer work over in the project area. The one area that you can't redirect the air towards very well, unfortunately, is the bedroom. Because, well, unless you put a box fan over here and just make sure it never falls forward to do this, there's really not a way to get a good angle heading towards the bedroom. Speaking of which, just a quick walkthrough, although it's not going to be used for anything too exciting, although I have kind of video edited the heck out of it for the anti-Jay parodies. So it's kind of ironic, you know, all this dark evil stuff with the anti-Jay stuff, and yet on that bookshelf is Stark's prayer book, Lutheran stuff, the Apocrypha, a bunch of Bibles. It's almost like, yeah. So, and then of course I got business books on the bottom shelf as well, so I don't know, make of it what you will, but I got my PC games and burnable CDs up top as well. So, this room, unfortunately, the bed set up perpendicular, lesson learned from the last place, and the screwy part about this place is that the internet only comes in here, and the phone only comes in here. So I've been playing with power line networking and not getting very good results. So I'm going to do some experimenting with wireless for the time being, because even though the performance will be crap, it might be a little more reliable than power line networking, which can be disconnected if a major appliance kicks on. Electrical interference and noise on the lines. Gotta love it. Since this place is hooked up it's got old installations for cable and satellite, I'm tossing around the idea of testing to see if a Mocha kit would work. Kind of like one of those whole house kits you can get from the cable company, except not by cable service. So, use the dead coax to transmit network signal without having to mess with a spaghetti cable going out of the bedroom all the way over to the living room. And having to hide it under rugs or scotch tape it onto the trim or something to run it along the wall and have it look stupid because I don't want to be drilling anything because, well, landlord probably wouldn't allow it. So, yeah. The Turd Shiba is my bedroom TV. And I, of course, have been using the crappy netbook buried on that laptop stand somewhere, along with, hey, lint-free cloths for wiping down electronics and other assorted stuff. They're washable, too, by the way. Handy that. Just don't use any fabric softener, much like with towels. And this can go into the closet for radio-style stuff. Hey, it's the Penny Poodle. Proof that I am somewhat of a child of the 80s. Come on in here, and just gotta find a way to fit. Wow, it got dark. What's his problem? Oh, yeah. Well, notice how all the reverb went away, and it's very much way more muffled in here. Of course, this is the closet trick that I learned from Some Call Me Jim. Shout-outs to him wherever he is. He hasn't YouTubed in a very long time, but it helps immensely with the radio-style series to record in here, even though I technically don't need it. MLB blanket is from childhood, actually. There's some teams on here that haven't existed in a very long time, like the Montreal Expos. The blanket's still in one piece, so I still keep using it. And the unfortunate part about this bedroom is that the heat from the furnace doesn't come over here very well. So the last vestige of electric heat from the old place is actually my multifunction unit over there, which is convective. It's not a radiator. Nothing heats up outside of the unit. So I just fire that thing up. It spits out some warm air, and then it eventually kicks off once the temp goes up a couple more degrees. The gas heats the place up somewhat, and that finishes heating and then maintains overnight. Works out pretty well, actually. I just put the thermostat at like 65 degrees or something low like that, so it'll actually kick off at night. And then this old computer stand is now being used for furniture and the printer. Pardon those two power strips, I don't even use the second one. Doing an experiment, I was wondering if I could use this in here at like low mode with only 600 watts. Instead of the 1000-watt Soleus air unit. This is my backup for when the furnace dies, but I'm tossing around the idea if I can get a little bit of room in here. Could I use that in low mode safely? So far, I think the answer to that question is no. This place is a lot smaller. I don't think there's any way to really be able to run this on low mode without being really nervous about using one of these things in low mode. The good news about DeLonghi is they do a very good job. They've designed this that this part doesn't get very hot. The heat kind of comes out from between the fins, but the fins themselves don't get very hot. It's not like that Honeywell I had beforehand where you couldn't even touch the thing when it was running full blast. However, the electrical work in this place still has some 15 amp circuits. It's not all 20 amp. I don't know if the bedroom is one of them or even its own circuit in the first place. So I don't want to attempt tripping the breaker and then having to get dressed, go outside, go into the cellar, go down, blah, 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 fiddle with all that, and we're getting snow tonight, so I'd have to get the stuff off the cellar door and go down and reset everything. That would not be cool. So I think I'll play it safe and stick with that one over there, which is contained and it's convective, so it only spits out some warm air that isn't even all that hot. Yeah, perpendicular bed, of course, just a lesson learned from last time. An interesting use for a keyboard drawer, if I ever want to mail something, there's my envelopes and staples. Staplers. I'll eventually be charging stuff on here too, just got to figure out the logistics of that thing. Probably going to end up moving this closer to the bed, maybe. I don't want to run the risk of knocking it over if I do some serious flailing around in my sleep or something like that. So the jury's still out on how this is eventually going to end up. I could even charge stuff on the bottom drawer if I really wanted to, like the Kindle, and if I get another tablet or a phone, stuff like that. So that's the bedroom setup. It's my folks are going to do a double take when they find out that this is my first bedroom setup to not actually have a computer desk in it, but I still have the laptop, so that kind of counts as doing computer stuff instead of sleeping. But that's the Geek House. Unfortunately, after 5 years, this Comfort Products fat-ass chair, it's rated for guys that are like 300 pounds, and I'm not even close to that anymore. Unfortunately, this fat-ass chair took a little bit of damage during the move, so now the fake leather is going to flake off. Last chair I had that had this happen, I found leather bits getting into the rug all over the place, and I had to vacuum it up, and it was horrible. So I will probably be getting a new chair at some point, but this thing was creaking and clunking anyway, so heck with it. Did pick up some games like Eternal Sonata to use for to play later on. Been becoming friends with the secondhand shop around here quite a bit recently, but things are slow. Things are going slow with them because they don't turn their inventory very quickly now that Christmas is over, so rarely do I see stuff that I actually want in there. And of course the mess with gaming in general right now is a bit of an issue as well. But that's the Geek House. We just got to clean up all this clutter, and the way to clean up all of this clutter is to do the Great Sift. And now that things are quieting down at work, and now that my main series is back up and running so I can shoot videos of stuff that I feel like making video stuff about while sifting through all of this, that's what's going to happen. Like, for example, that old TV antenna, which is useless. Get rid of that. It's from before the analog to digital conversion, so it's an old analog one. It only works for FM radio, sort of. I mean, that AM loop up there works a heck of a lot better than that one does with FM. So, yeah, alright. Next up needs to be the great sift. This place is never going to be the way I want it, and it's never going to feel totally like home until I deal with all this clutter. If anyone asks about the attic, let's knock this one out while we're at it here. The attic is not usable. It's literally rafters and insulation up there. You could put something across the rafters, but that's about it. There's nothing to do up there. It's literally just the roof and the chimney. So, but the only thing I'm going to do is of course I wrapped the piece of wood in one of my thermal curtains because there was some air leaking through there when I first came here. One of the things that I'm going to be doing, one of the things that I should probably do besides maybe find something that drops down and fits there or something like that, but one of the things I will be doing with the attic, I'll open this up in the summertime so heat that's generated down here can go up into the attic and be up by the roof and just to dissipate out that way in the summertime. This place tends to be biased a bit more towards being cool than being hot, so I don't know if I'll need as much air conditioning in the summertime. There's a smoke detector in the living room. Now, it's code that you need to have a smoke detector in every sleeping space, which makes me wonder if this used to be a wall and this space used to be a bedroom. My barber used to live in this place a long, long time ago, and he talked about how he raised his kids here. I'm wondering if maybe way back in those days you could have had a second bedroom here, and they just knocked it out so it could be a somewhat decent living room or something like that. All I can say is, of course, double curtains going everywhere for thermal type stuff. It's my cheap-ass alternative to window kits. More on that later. But double thermal curtains because it's winter time. And other than that, though, we're good to start. These are the starting points, and I'm feeling a nice warm breeze coming from from old Clunky over there because the fan's blowing the heat over here. So I will do some more experimenting with directionalizing everything. Why don't we talk about the computers to wrap things up here? This whole geek house thing. A little bit of rumbling outside. You might hear a snowplow or two. So, we got some computery stuff here. The HP survived. The Dellosaurus is eventually going to get gutted. I want to make the Dellosaurus into a novelty system where it looks really old, but it isn't. So, got some plans for that. My 2005 machine that I built for Dad still works. And I might consider putting the 05 stuff in the Dellosaurus. Might be interesting to say the least. I could certainly use a Linux box that's somewhat portable. Excuse me. Yeah, there I go again making... well, I haven't had supper yet, so technically this is making videos after lunch. And then the 12 amp vacuum might be a little overkill. With these hard floors, I can do all the vacuuming with a vacuuming robot and a stick vac. Namely, that little 1 amp Eureka over there. This wimpy little thing. It's like college all over again, just going around with a little stick vac as your vacuum. Actual retail price, $20. $20. And that's probably the single best thing about this place. As we get back in the chair over here and wake up the computer, the single best thing about this place is that the landlord designed this place with sloppy-ass tenants in mind. This is kids' room paint with a clear coat surface, probably enamel. Everything that could possibly get on the wall just wipes right off. If I see a little bit of something or another or dust or what have you, it just wipes right off. No problem whatsoever. There's no writing on the door frames like what's-her-face writing how tall our kids were getting in the old place from before I arrived, whatever. Yeah, and because of the brightness, the bright look of everything, you can see very quickly when stuff needs to be cleaned, and it looks ugly until you do. So it encourages better housekeeping. Rugs are mine. I brought them from the old place, and I'll probably buy some more area rugs to have some rug action going here. But even these nice little low-pile ones mean I don't have to buy chair mats anymore. So no more $30 a year every 6 months or something. I can just toss a rug. And wheel around that way. So I might buy more of these throw rugs. Just got to figure out this internet thing and how I can get reliable internet service over here that doesn't disconnect because, power line networking. Got some ideas in mind for that. But that is the Geek House. We just got to clear the clutter. And the way we're going to clear the clutter is by going through the Great Sift, which should be a lot easier now that we have should be a lot easier now that things are quieting down at work, and we, well, everything's back up and running with the main series. One last thing you may have noticed. No music. For 2016, I am going to make music in WWMJ optional. There was a time when adding music after recording one of these things really was a chore, and it actually delayed me releasing more videos or wanting to make more videos. So I'll add music if I feel like it, but don't consider it as any kind of requirement anymore. I mean, I tried the reality show, everything has music in the background thing, but I want it to be something that I enjoy adding to the videos, not a drudgery that I feel like I have to do. And my gaming habits might change too, since of course I got the secondhand store. Actually they're getting very competitive with their pricing, and the lady running the place has been very generous with the store credit she gives me for turning in stuff. She's totally killing my desire to send anything to East Starland, so I picked up Eternal Sonata and a couple JRPGs for the PlayStation 3 today. I'm just blowing up my backlog, aren't I? But the reason why I'm blowing up my backlog is because I'm trading stuff I'm never going to play again for stuff I actually want to play. The challenge is just getting around to playing it. And since I don't have reliable networking right now, I'm not really too big on MMOs at this point, so let's play everything else that I have. Plus, maybe I can build a console killer PC and call it the J Station or something. Run Steam games off of it with some 360 controllers. Just one of the ideas I'm tossing around as I try and work out the details on what's going to happen with Monolith later this year. Got to recoup the expenses from the move first, though. So that's it. This is our starting point for 2016. Not much of a tech video, but now things can get underway. Welcome back to the main series, everybody. Welcome to 2016. If we can all get this memorized, that would be great. And once the dust settles from the move, and any potential altercations or whatever with XSL, if he wants to start any trouble with me, I don't know if he does or not, once the dust settles from everything, I should do quite well here. Plus, I've been noticing the difference in not buying anywhere near as much gas because of the much shorter commute to work now. I'm dumbfounded how slowly the needle's moving on my car nowadays. Those little things that you get used to when you're living in a more rural area where you have to drive everywhere significantly. And when that goes away and you get some alternate transportation options, it's kind of, well, no, that's why I moved out to a more built-up place. You wouldn't know it, though, because this is a quiet part of town, at least when there isn't a New Year's party going on, but that's another discussion entirely. Okay, enough staring at the screens. And, of course, this Athlon processor over here, which I suspect is going to become the thumbnail for this video. Just get a good shot of it. Or better yet, there we go. This might work too. It's morning in Jay's Geek... Actually, no, it's evening, but figuratively. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay, signing off. Thanks for stopping by.